How to be a man, essential and performative masculinity.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is PsychHacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is how to be a man. It's a simple question.
I see so many books in the background. I wonder how many of them are good. You know? I don't know, I'm not gonna act like I've never watched parts of this video, and I never watched one of this guy's videos. He has like a very secular-minded concept of masculinity. It's like if you asked a liberal in the 1950s what masculinity is, and everyone goes like, "Oh my God, this is so amazing! Wow, he's not like a dude who thinks they should walk around in pink tutus," but it's really not that much better. It's like picking the lesser of two evils.
And one that 100 years ago would be ludicrous to ask, because back then, everyone just sort of knew what the answer was. But here we are in modern times, characterized, among other things, by an identity crisis in men. How we got here is extremely complex, but here is where we are. Now, some forms of masculinity, such as machismo masculinity, are fairly complex. This is because they are performances of an
So, what everyone calls, like, oh, machismo, you're so, my family, when they hear my views on women, and they're typically, like, typical conservative people, they're like, oh, machista, which is like machismo in Spanish. And the thing is, the whole machismo concept is actual masculinity. Okay, I feel like because of people like Andrew Tate, these like intellectual philosophy bros, like actual people that think on higher levels, are kind of like, well, that's like too much, and that's like unintellectual, that's dumb, but I also don't want to, wave around a pride flag, so I'm gonna become a smart guy. Okay, actually, I really hope this is here so I can actually I'm gonna be a smart guy. Okay, I'm gonna be smart, and I'm gonna read some philosophy books, and I'm gonna make my own concept of masculinity. And then they meet up with all these other guys on YouTube, they watch their videos, and they end up thinking to have something great. The machismo concept of masculinity is basically everything you need aside from the lack of emotional processing, which does not come from becoming a philosophy bro. As much as I read and love philosophy, I guess a part of the philosophy is actually to be a bit machismo, because there's these people talking about masculinity and they don't work out, they look kind of geeky, they're kind of nerdy, and I'm nerdy and geeky, but I don't look the part. There is a performative aspect, and we'll get more into that as the video goes.
Written etiquette with evolving rules and standards. However, this form of masculinity, as much as femininity, is essentially performative. Neither is a natural suite of behaviors, and each is an expression of a particular time and place. These forms of masculinity and femininity...
Okay, yeah, so that's like a way of saying it's outdated.
...can be learned, and skillful execution of their respective suites of behaviors both express and confirm status in men and women. Many of the answers you'll hear on the internet to the question of how to be a man correspond with performative masculinity. They are things that you can do to signify your man status with props, costumes, and postures. These could be things like grow a beard, lift heavy stuff, start a business, go fishing, go hunting, learn to start a fire, learn to drive a manual transmission, learn to seduce women, learn to fight, learn to shoot a gun, learn to grill a ribeye steak, talk knowledgeably about sports, drink beer and appreciate whiskey, etc.
Yeah, some of these things are kind of gay, but essentially, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what masculinity's been boiled down to in the past, let's say, 50 years. Not including the past, like, 10. Yeah.
Now, I don't have a problem with any of those things. A lot of them sound fun and could prove beneficial to the individual in question. However, I do think that all of those responses suffer from defining masculinity essentially as a suite of behaviors, as a performance. Now,
yeah, so that's just going to be, I guess, if he's talking about the average person, yeah, but I understand it's a popular level YouTube video and it's 9 minutes long. I understand those things, and I'll be charitable about those things, but That was good, Landon. But the thing is, masculinity is both essential and performative. It's both. You can't have one without the other. I'm not in this part of this video. I'm gonna demonstrate the absurdity of this proposition that masculinity is just this essential concept, like he's going to explain.
I have a different take on this question. As you can see, I'm not a guy who's very performatively masculine. I work with words in a very feminized profession. I've never played football or scaled a...
And it's funny because the feminized profession thing actually leaks into his evaluation here.
Fish
in a very
or
subtle way.
roped a calf. However, when it comes down to it, I'm extremely masculine. And this is because what it means to be a man is very simple and only marginally associated with what you do or what you look like. Are you ready?
Marginally associated. So I would take marginally, in this case, to mean 90 to 5%. All right, you're 90 to 5%. And I'm not recording, so I can't cut out that math error. Oh my god. Hey, maybe where did the glasses go? You know, maybe these people are on to something. Maybe I'm just a dumb hunk that just lifts weights and needs to learn stuff. So put the glasses on so I can do proper math now. 95 to 5. Thank you very much. 95 to 5%, 95% essential, 5% performative. That's what I take marginal to mean. And to me, that's just an absurdity. So I'll bring up this scenario. So what if a dude was wearing a tutu? Is there a possibility that could be masculine? Given our current social norms and whatnot? Well, masculinity is not about performative action. It's about the way you think. And I'm not here to dunk on the way you think. I literally teach psychology. Okay? Good psychology, not retard therapist psychology. Secular new psychology. But what's more important is honestly the recognition, the desire to perform the performative aspect. You cannot shun that away. And a lot of people I work with, honestly, they don't fully acknowledge sometimes the performative aspect. They kind of just take being a man as, well, I'm a man, and, you know, I guess that means I stick up for things. But they don't really take on the performative aspects, which hinders them in a lot of different ways. It hinders you with your own actions. It's immoral in some sense because the ontological grounding and epistemic grounding for morals is based on God. And there's certain performative actions that are commanded, right? And it also doesn't help with women because you could be as like essentially masculine as you want, but if you look like a geek, that's not going to matter. And granted, you can say it's the other way around. If you look like a big, strong man, and then, yeah, I just read the chat. But if you're like a big, strong man, and then you're a loser in the mind, then you will lose the woman as well. So that's true as well, but you need both. I don't like this marginal, 5%. You know, would you say this guy? Wait, why isn't my stream? Oh, whoa, hold on. What is wrong with my stream over there? What the? Okay. Yeah, as I suspected, my chat is not even running. Okay, hold on. More technical difficulties. Don't worry, I am on the case. First stream's going so great, you know? No technical difficulties at all. I didn't wait 30 minutes to get this started because I couldn't figure out how to get my camera not to look complete garbage. Not make my mic sound like complete garbage. Okay, alright, stream chat. Okay, yeah, why isn't it not updating? Oh, wait, it is. It's just really transparent. Anyways, so I wouldn't say this guy's a retard. Okay, he seems like a somewhat intelligent guy, and honestly, if I had to spend the rest of my life trying to talk to these guys in intellectual conversations, I wouldn't mind that. These people are smart, you know, they study, they read, they understand English, etc. But at the same time, These cannot be our new role models because they don't embody the truth, the full truth, which is masculinity is also performative. It's more like, it's honestly more like 60-40, 60% mental, 40% performative. And when it means sense, essentially, it essentially means mental.
Ready? To be a man is very simple. You need only two things. You need a spine.
Only two things. You need a spine so you get your back blown out. Because, listen, if you get your back blown out with a spine, you do it with pride, you do it with strength. You say, this is what I do and I don't like it. I don't care what you think. It's masculinity, bro.
And you need some balls.
And you need some balls. Okay? Those are two things. So, to be masculine, all you need is to have a spine. When you're getting your back blown up because this is such a gay concept, you need a spine. Okay, you need to be able to hold up there. And you need some balls. So as long as they haven't been chopped off yet by your parents trying to transition you, you're gonna be good. Be a ballerina with a pink little tutu and stick up for what you believe. That's masculinity. So yeah, you see the absurdity in this whole concept of essential versus performative masculinity. Under this definition, a guy can be a ballerina doing little twirls in a pink little girl, whatever. What do they even call that thing? That girls wear? Tutu? I don't know what the whole outfit's called, but a ballerina outfit. And that's masculine. Ridiculous.
That's it. If you have a spine and you have some balls, then you're a man. And just so we're clear, I'm not talking literally. All humans have a spine and all males have balls. What I'm talking about is a spine and a pair figuratively. It's simple, but not necessarily easy. Let's talk about each one individually, shall we? First, what does it mean to have a spine? A spine means that you are willing to stand up. Anatomically, you need a spine to stand erect. Figuratively, you need a spine to stand up for what you believe to be true, which is, in your heart of hearts, who you are. And this, of course, presupposes that you actually know what you believe to be true, and this ain't easy. Most of the things in your head were put there by other people.
This is a good point. And again, this is why I prefer to dispute with people. It's not like he's talking to me, obviously. I'm trying to connect this thing right now. It's obviously not like he's talking to me, but to break down and analyze the position because they'll say some things that are smart, but they'll miss the whole picture. And that's what I'm here for. It's not like I'm listening to like Dean Withers and everything he says is just wrong. And I have to spend like 50 minutes to go over a 1-minute clip. It's insane.
And a lot of that stuff is total garbage. For most people, it takes years and years of patient self-study to learn what they believe to be true. So young guys get a pass here, though it's important to acknowledge that we tend to make their jobs harder by filling them up with so much distracting nonsense to begin with. However, there are many older guys, men who I speak with on a regular basis, who don't know what their values are, don't know what they believe to be true, and consequently don't know who the fuck they are. And how are you going to stand up for something?
Wasn't expecting an F-bomb from this guy. That's funny. Okay. No, I mean, I don't swear personally, but I don't really mind it. And shows that I guess he has a little bit of, balls. I won't dispute that.
Something if you don't know what that something is. Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, then please consider sending this episode to someone who might benefit from its message, because it's word-of-mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. And if you're liking what you're hearing, you can hit the super thanks button. It's those 3 little dots in the lower right-hand corner. And tip
Bro,
me.
I'm trying to connect my pen so I can get into my amazing, beautiful, intelligent analysis, but this thing isn't even... Is this cable broken? This cable might be broken. Just to look more masculine. I don't know, maybe. I don't know, this guy tends to talk a lot about masculine. There might be another video I'll do from later. Where he talks about all men are incels. I think that's an interesting thing to get into. I don't know. I don't know why this thing isn't working. I hope you guys can't hear like the disconnecting, connecting sound. On my old computer, I used to pick up on the mic and it was annoying. Okay, it's connected. Now it's disconnected. All right, I'm gonna do one search down here. If I don't find the cable, then I guess I have to use my mouse. It's not ideal, but that is a GameCube remote. I'm gonna use that thing in ages. That's USB-C, and I think the prospects of my amazing drawings are going to be significantly hindered because I literally do not have a cable. This thing. No, that's not. That sucks. You can hear it loud and clear. Oh, Jesus Christ. Bro, this is going to be such a disaster in post. Okay, one more try. It's something. Okay, that thing is... Cable's garbage. Okay. Now, guess I'm using my mouse.
In proportion to the value you believe you've received from this episode. I really appreciate you know where you stand in relation to the universe. This is because as soon as you stand up, you cast a shadow, which situates you in a specific place between the heavens, literally the sun, and the earth, your immediate surroundings. Unless you are completely in line with the light, there is no way to avoid casting a shadow on this plane. Among other things, this means that as soon as you stand up, that is, as soon as you make it known who you are and what you believe in, you will attract an antithetical element in opposition to that, the shadow. People will disagree with you. People will disapprove of you. Some people will despise you. And the taller you stand, the more some people will threaten, attack, and seek to destroy you. This is part of the risk of standing up and having a spine. And this, of course, is why we rightly respect people who stand up for what is right, despite the personal risk of doing so. What's strange is that the alternative to doing this, that is remaining spineless, isn't all that great either. You go through life never really knowing who you are and what you believe in. Now, it often happens that some people do know who they are and do know what they believe in. However, they're never able to find their place in the world because they weren't willing to stand up from their hiding places and say, "This is me." This is because doing so requires the second ingredient, a pair of balls. Having a pair means that you're willing to suffer the risk associated with being somebody, a specific individual with values and beliefs. It means putting your money where your mouth is. It means not giving a shit whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Not giving a shit whether you approve or disapprove of me. Not giving a shit if you...
Now, see, the danger in this proposition he's putting forth is that because the performative aspect is essentially completely done away with, what if someone said, you know what? My beliefs are I am a Satanist, and I'm going to stick up for that. You say it's wrong? I don't care. Child sacrifice rituals? I don't care. You know who would actually fall into this definition of masculinity. Let me pull this up. This will be interesting. Try to find it. It's going to be a vast sea of books. Who's the one... Which book is it? I think it's... Oh yeah, this book. Now, I'm not going to get too much into Freemasonry and stuff like that, but let's just get into here. But is this it? This might not be it. Where's the one about the... Okay, there we go. So this is Aleister Crowley's sex magic book. This is one of the chants, one of the prayers they do. It's part of a ritual. Let's see what Aleister Crowley has a spine for and has balls for, because he'll do it. He literally published books on it, wrote books on it. Talk to other people about it. Quote, also, he shall slay a young child upon the altar, and the blood shall cover the altar with perfume as of roses. Now, I'm not here to argue about. Well, I guess I am putting it forth, so I guess I am somewhat arguing about it. But the point of this video is not to get into like satanic ritual and whatnot. But the point is that let's say, for the sake of this, this is literal, and this is the case. Which, it is, but let's not get too far into that. That's masculine, bro. That is a good thing to do. Because I'm sure he would say masculinity is good. I mean, the whole video presupposes the idea that masculinity is good. So the point is that you need the performative aspect. Because without the performative aspect, there's no morality tied to it. Okay? Keep in mind the two things he said. One, know what you believe in, and two, have balls. Where's the morals in that? You can be immoral and still be a man. We would disagree with that. Because morality is a part of each gender. Like, there's specific moral codes for each gender, like the whole performative aspect of, okay, if your man should dress like a man, if your woman should dress like a man, those are moral things. Those are performative. You can't have moral statements like that without valuing the performative aspect. So I completely agree with the whole mental thing. Let me, where is the, get my Canva out. Okay. So this is how your mind and masculinity works along with identity. So this is your ID, or I call it the idon. Okay. Idon is ID, identity, plus purpose. Excuse the handwriting. I do not have my writing tablet. I have to buy a new cable. Anyways, so idon plus purpose is like the sun. It's funny you brought up the sun. I'll use the same example. Sun. Boom. And these are the rays of the sun. These rays are your action / performative. In this case, I'm going to use this guy's terminology. It's also performative. So this is how you look. How you look is mostly affected by the way you act. Now, I wasn't born with, muscles and whatnot. Wasn't born, I mean, if you look at pictures of me when I was younger, I didn't look as good as I do now. Etc. A lot of how you look has to do with your action. And that comes from mind. So I guess, yeah, I agree, mind is a source. But at the same time, the performative aspects are a sign of the mind. It's like the fruits of the tree. By the fruits you shall know them. What you say, what you do, all these things, any action you can think of, any performative thing, comes from the idon, identity / purpose. And this idon and all these actions are subject to. So put a greater than sign right there. Morals. Okay, you cannot separate the two. Because what do you say when you say, well, it is a good thing, and it is true? So these are moral, those are ethical. Right? Even when you say this proposition is true, you're assuming that logic is the case, and logic is inferences and syllogisms that lead to a conclusion. But in order to instantiate that, in order for it to have any meaning, there has to be a level of morality. You have to be able to say, if something is logical, you should follow it. That's one way logic has any use. So morals presuppose in logic. And logic, it's true. And that the statement he's making is the essential versus the performative. Put PE. That's his claim. So his claim has to assume some sort of ethical system. And the problem is, there's no ethical system implicated, talked about, and clearly he isn't using the Christian ethical system or any objective ethical system, because he essentially just said, whatever you feel is the case is the case. Right? He may not explicitly believe that, but that is the entailment of what he has talked about. So he has no moral system, so therefore, I'm going to go back here. If this was literal, let's take it as literal. Let's not get into, explaining the conspiracy and whatnot. Also, I just realized you can't even read the whole thing, but whatever. I already told you. There you go. That is masculine. That is good, because it says masculinity is good. So this is the absurdity, bringing up performative versus essential masculinity. And everyone who is like conservative, just because he said that masculinity is something, he's talking about masculinity, not in the context of waving around a pride flag, they nut their pants. Like, they just lose their minds. But no, it doesn't work either. You need the moral system. And the only coherent foundation for morals is from God. God, morals, this should be the alignment of idolons, creates what I call a silunaks, which is the higher self in other traditions, and from there your actions flow out. So yeah.
Love or hate me. It means, if necessary, putting your money, your relationships, your career, your status, your reputation, and even your life on the line in the service of what you believe to be true.
It's true, but what you believe to be true is also a part of a masculinity. So again, he's like this half-baked system doesn't fully work, and again, these are the philosophy like nerd bros. Like, he doesn't wear glasses, but there's other one that wore glasses. They're like this. So I'm like, well, real masculinity is X, Y, or Z, and everyone loves them because they're like intellectual people, but I don't.
If you have a spine with no balls, you spend your life hiding. Hiding from your friends, hiding from your women, and ultimately, hiding from yourself. While you technically can't do anything to earn respect, in the sense that you cannot make someone respect you, especially if, for whatever reason, they have a mind not to, you can significantly increase the probability that you will garner respect from other men and from women in general by having a spine and growing a pair. We respect those who are willing to hold the line and risk it all.
But yeah, the performative versus essential masculinity distinction is just retarded. And I see everyone like drilling. Let's look at the comments. Let's see what people are saying about this. Responsibility. Outstanding. Knowing yourself, what you want what you want out of life. So this guy thought this message was worth $100. Yeah, the topic is extremely subjective under the secular worldview. I mean, again, I don't understand how modern psychologists with no moral system, no philosophical system to ground their morality, why should he help someone who wants to murder people? If he just wants to. You have to assume that murdering is wrong in order to make that claim. But they don't have a system to instantiate that, so how does it work? To be not completely incoherent. This guy's getting donated so much. Am I getting jealous? Not really. To be honest, I want to make a joke about how I was getting jealous, but I'm actually not really jealous. But yeah, literally everyone is just like, wow, oh my god, But like, it's like, it's mid. Again, I mean, there's worse, but next. Let's do unconservative woman. I feel like that'll be a very funny video to do.